And we are back with a brand new episode brought to you by Sam Larson Studio, and today we're going to be going back over aliens. What are we doing with this? I want to push on our storytelling, and I want to push on our diversity within a character that we create. Alright? So in this case, we're going to go with a fairly simple, straight-on view. Okay? And I had this idea for these alien Cub Scout characters, right? And I really want to push on using a single kind of character design. Like that, we got the line of action, we're giving him a little bit of a curve, and we're gonna have it so he's holding onto his little backpack, alright? And he's going to have an antenna. Why are we doing this? We're going to use some of the alien traits that are commonly seen, and we're going to use those to our advantage in this case, but we're also going to try to add some variety to it, alright? This is one way that we could design the character, but how can we make something else that's in a similar vein, looks similar, has the same kind of feeling, but is a different character? So in this case, I'm going to give him goggles. I'm going to give him a big smile. Alright, so that's just a super basic one. He's probably going to have 3 fingers, and right now we're just roughing it in. Alright, we're getting a good idea of what we want to do with this, okay? And there's going to be a general dude that just gives us an idea of scale of everything, okay? So in this case, we're just going to make it so he's just a generic kid that looks like a pretty awesome artist that we all know and love. So this will give us an idea of what our scale is going to be in this case. Alright, and then we're going to have another one. How do we change it up? This guy maybe has 2 antennas. And maybe we make it so he's a little bit wider than the first one, alright? Still has his cool alien knapsack. And he is going to have his shoulders here, holding onto his knapsack right there. And his stance is going to be a little bit wider. I have no idea what their feet look like yet, so I haven't figured that part out. We're going to have another one that's a little bit taller. And we're going to change up his body language, and we're going to have it so he's more of like the teenager one. So just assume that this guy has 3 eyes going on and still has 1 antenna, but his is going to be a little bit longer. We can just give him whatever expression we like. Think about what your character is doing and why they're doing it. Alright, so we could add some more characters to this, but we're going to stick with doing 3 for right now, okay? And we're going to start finishing these guys up a little bit. So what we're doing right here is we're playing around with storytelling a bit, alright? We've got this smarter one, we've got this other guy that's along for the ride, and we've got this other one that he's probably fairly intelligent, but he doesn't really know what he's doing out here, and he's a little bit more learning about everything. And I think the idea of alien Cub Scouts is kind of fun. They're visiting Earth, and they're on a field trip. This is where the storytelling gets to be a little bit fun. So we can just toss in a moon up here. And we might see a UFO in the distance. Alright, let's finish these guys up. Clean up the line work. Decide what lines you want. Take those. What kind of traits can we give them that show that they aren't that different from us? But also, like, they're very different from us. But they're also curious. They're really excited to meet a human for the first time. This guy, we can't see his eyes so well because of the glasses. And then we gotta decide exactly how we want the legs to work. I want him to be, like, standing forward and asking his question excitedly, not realizing that the human is unable to speak his language. What other traits are you able to change up when doing this? Think about your own alien character. What could you do with your own alien character, and how could you change up designs based on the species? Even if you're drawing just regular humans, you can change up hair color, you can change up eye color, you're able to change up race, you're able to change up just a number of things, you know? And you can do a lot of really fun variety when drawing humans. So how could you do that with something like an alien? Or, you know, any animals that you like drawing, what could you do for that? Now, I didn't want to add a second tongue this time around, but it would be kind of fun to add a second tongue to a character like this. And we see that he's excitedly explaining something. I want to feel like he's really leaning into his question, and you can see that the knapsack is kind of off of his back, so we got to show that that's off of his back a little bit, so it's falling, and he's just excited. And the human really doesn't know what to do about this, because he doesn't know what's happening. Human is not the important part. I shouldn't be using so much time on the human for this part, but that's okay, because you get to hang out with me a little bit longer then, and I enjoy your company. Bam. UFO. Bam. Again, this one is really about the storytelling. And this gives the audience an idea of what's going on without a word being communicated. Again, you can add more stuff into the backpacks to try to add character traits. Is one of them a reader? Is one of them always underprepared? Do you want to show clothes popping out of a knapsack? What could you show to show any kinds of traits off of a character? One of them might have something like a little handheld game system. And those are just like little nods that you can do to add traits to these characters. He's got his feet kind of tilted inwards. He's a little bit awkward. He's not really sure what to be doing. Should he even be talking to the human? Is this a good idea? What's going to happen from this? But his buddy is so excited about it. See, so you can start to get an idea of personality based off of this stuff. Now we can see his arm popping through, and then we're going to show just a little bit of that arm. And we don't know how many eyes these guys have. You're able to do any number of eyes. How many eyes do you want to do? A little bit more timid, a little bit more curious. You could even make it so this is more of like a little question mark coming out of his head to show that he's unsure of himself. What do you want to do with it? You can change this up. You can add tentacles to them. In this case, I wanted to stick more with some of the stereotypes, but again, not all of the stereotypes. So in this case, I'm not coloring them in, but they would be green. They're just not built the same way humans are built. They don't have any toes. They're kind of a little bit awkward and gangly sometimes, but that's okay. They're just, you know, they're their own thing. And he's just kind of holding onto his backpack for dear life. They're all kind of concerned. They don't really know what to expect. This is like finding a bear out in the wild for a Cub Scout. We gotta give him a cool hoodie. Arms would be nice. this case, I'm gonna add a few wrinkles to this, and we're gonna have it so the arms are around here. Nothing too crazy for it. Remember, do a mitten and then add fingers to it and do whatever style seems right for your character. Now we've got a good idea of what's going on. His arm looks a little bit backwards right now, and that's just because I didn't erase all of the lines that I should have erased. But I really just wanted his arm chilling by its side, you know? His arm looks way more backwards than I want it to look. That's okay. It's because his shoulder should be coming out more. Make a note of that. It's a good note to have. Don't draw my characters wrong. Little exclamation point over his head because he's trying to figure it out and doesn't know what's going on. But there we go. Now we got a little scene going on. Can add a little bit of grass to it. Show that they're outside. Remember, we can add our trees to it. Can add all of the different elements that we've been practicing. Set more of a scene to it, you know? These trees are basically just precise scribbles. You want them to all have their own sections. Bam. Fine. There we go. We got a cool scene. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next episode.